Good afternoon, everyone. This is Vinod from Excel Snippet. This is our video number 5 in Excel Snippet Quick View Series 21-22. In today's topic, we are going to see how to add a data to a data model and why we need to add a data to a data model. There is a lot of function when you add a data to a data model. I'm going to give you a very basic logic today. That is, if you add a data to a data model, how fast your data can be added to a list, number one, and how much of size you can reduce in a normal Excel file. Generally, when we are dealing with the larger data, we tend to use this option. This allows you to store the data in Power Pivot data model, and we can do a report from there on. This is the best way to handle the data for two reasons. One is your data size will become very small. Number two is your data is dynamic in nature. So if there is a updates happens in the respective file, the data will be automatically refreshed here, and you can see the updates are happening in each and every data automatically. Other than that, if the file size is too bigger, we don't want to load them into the Excel file. Instead, we can keep them in the data model. That allows us to handle the data better. Let's see how to add a data inside the data model. So before I start taking the data, let me show you the data that I'm going to add here. So let me add a data which is a little not that bigger, but again, I don't want them to be a part of my list, so I want to add it to my data part. So let me take a very small data first, and from there on we can see how we can deal with it. So this is the data that I can add it to my data model, and I can find out the different kind of pivot table dashboards very easy. So let's see how to do that. So I'm going to add this data to a data model. Rule number one: if you have this in an Excel sheet, don't add the data directly from the Excel sheet to data model. Instead, create a brand new sheet and then pull the data into that sheet and then add that to a data model, because we don't want them as a table and as well as a data model. Keeping them in two different dimensions will confuse our data structure. Instead, we keep it in one part. Let the data be raw in nature in the data point, and I will bring them inside my list. If you are using 2010 and 13 version, this Power Pivot window will be a add-on to you. If you are using 2016 version, 1902 version and above, probably this will be a part of your subscription and you can use them with ease. So let me go back to my list, and I'm using 2019 Excel version. So get data from file, and it's a single file, so I'm going to take it from the workbook. If you want to take multiple files, then you can use a folder option there. If you want to know more about it, you can see the first video of my Power Pivot and Power Query video series 3 to get the idea better. So now I'm going back to my data component, and I'm taking one of the data available in my list, and I'm going to import them. When I import them, automatically it brings in the data transformation screen. Here I can load them into my data. So I'm going to just select this file, and then I'm going to just say load and load to. When I say load to, then it will automatically pop up a window and it will ask you, would you like to have a table creation or you want only the creation of this. Now we can see that when I add the load to, you can see that it is automatically taking the data not from the table. It is creating only the connection to me, and it automatically added the data to my data model. When I give an OK, this data will be added to my data model. But you cannot access this data in an Excel sheet, wherein you can access this data in an Excel data model. So now I have 4009 items of data, and let me see where this data is available. To do that, I will either go from the data tab, manage data model, or I'll go to my Power Pivot window and click manage data model. This will take my data, or this will take my screen to my data part. Here I'm going to create a dashboard right now, and I don't have any agenda at the moment. Let me just create an agenda also. So now I have the total spent amount and the item and total saved amount is coming up here, and I'm going to find out the cost of the product here by gender and by day. So actually I have a lot of things here, I believe. Let me see how many varieties I have. Male and female, gender is here. How many region I have? Perfect. So let me take like this. So I'm going to take 4 different data part. So I'm going to take purchase day wise and purchase time wise, and then customer region wise and gender wise total spent. To do this, I'm going to go back to my pivot table and I'm going to say flatten pivot table or 4 chart. So when I say 4 chart, it gives you a charts for us. Here it will give you a flattened pivot table. I'm going to use a 4 chart, so I'll see the entire data as a flow chart. Then it'll ask you a question. Would you like to add it in an existing sheet or a new sheet? As this is my index page, so I'm going to add it in a new sheet. And automatically you can see I have 4 different templates coming up here. So I'm going to open the data and I'm going to expand this a little bit. And if your data is not properly given in a particular data model, you can alter them. To alter the data model to the proper data set, I'll go back to the data, I'll say query connection, and I'll give a right click and edit them, because I'm see all of them as text here. I don't see any numerical values. So I'm going to convert this data to a proper data set. To convert the entire table into a proper data set, I can just select the whole data from first to last and go to the transform tab and say detect data type. That changes the entire data structure into a normal data point. And then I'm going to save this. When I save this, on the right hand side, once the data are getting refreshed here, you can see the data are going to be converted into a perfect point. So now the first file that I'm going to add is region wise total spent. You can see that, and then the next tab I'm going to take gender wise total spent, and the next tab I'm going to take it as time wise total spent, and finally I'm going to use the last and the final component as day wise total spent. So now you can see the coloring is not done by me. If you normally use a dashboard in a pivot table, you have to color them manually because the default color will be considered here. So here I'm going to rename the headers here. Regional sales or regional spent, and gender spent, and then day spent, and then here days spent. So this allows you to work with the data better. And if you want to add the data label here, you can automatically add the data label. But the data label will not be properly formatted here. So let me add all the data first, and then I will do the data formatting too. So now I'm going to just give a right click here and then go to my format data label. And then I'll take the numbers here and convert them into currency. And I'm going to make it as yes, it's a 2 decimal portion. So same way I click here, convert them into currency. I click here, convert them into currency. Click here and convert them into currency. So all my data point is perfect right now. If you want to make it even more better, so I'm going to put all these data in one dimension. So let me put them in thousands. So I'm going to say display units into thousands, and I'm going to repeat that. Thousands, thousands. So when you keep one data, automatically the windows will not be closed and you can see them very clearly right now. So now I got my dashboard in a few minutes, and you can see that the entire data is added, and this data is not available in my sheets. It is in my data model. In the next video, I'll show you if a data is added to this data. So I have 4,000 line items right now. If I add another 1,000 line items of data in here, then what happens to the data part? So how this is going to react, and do I have to redo the process from scratch again, or do I have to just refresh the data? Normally we refresh the data, it reflects my data model first, and then it automatically reflects in my respective table too. So this is how we add our data to a data model, and hope you learned this data. Hope you have learned something new in our data model data additions, and as I told you earlier, we will see if I add a data to our data model, does it gonna be added manually or will it be added automatically? We need to just refresh the data to do so. Hope you enjoy this video, and do subscribe this channel, do share it with your friends and family, and learn more every day. We have one more video coming up on the data refresh component, and as well as 5 different basic functions of DAX versus Excel functions in my next video. Thank you so much. Have a good day.